What's up, world? It's another episode of the Intellectual Class Clown, hosted by me, your boy, Tony Mack. And today, I got a good friend of mine on the show, y'all, Kenny. Kenny, say what's up.
Hey, what's up, world? How you guys doing?
Oh, man, I'm pretty sure they doing all right, man. They living with all this crazy stuff going on in the world,
Crazy.
brother.
Yeah.
Like, I was late today to do the show because I had to go for a job interview, man. Like, I got to get a job right now during COVID. It's some bullshit.
It's
man.
crazy.
Like, I mean, damn, it's like I don't know what's going on, man. One minute they fighting for unemployment, they talking about a second stimulus, and now what's going on? Like, what Donald Trump had to sign an executive order or something
Yeah, and
like that?
I guess, it's coming off bad because, like, he overstepped Congress and he's doing all these crazy things behind everybody's back. He's even stepping on Republicans' toes, so people don't even know where they stand with him. Yeah. But I know with the unemployment thing, it's crazy because people assume that people who are unemployed don't want to work. I think there's more people who want to go back to work than stay at home. It's just unfortunate, and it's the climate we're in right now. It's just there's no jobs. I mean, you had to go on a job interview. I think that speaks for itself right now.
Right.
So.
That's the dude, Mitch McConnell. He's the one who's saying that he wanted to lower the unemployment, the extra
money to $200.
Right. Yeah. He said because it's giving people an incentive not to work.
Right.
Yet he's the same. These are the same folks saying that there's a virus out that can kill you, and it's like, wait, so you mean to tell me? Last month you said be afraid. This month you like, all right, it ain't that bad. Go out there and get a job.
Mm-hmm. Like, but I think the argument is there's a lot of Republicans saying that there isn't a virus and that it's fake, and I think that's built into their argument that there should only be $200 extra because people need to go back to work because there's not really an external issue such as the virus, which I don't agree with at all. Many people are getting sick. At first it was, if you were old, if you had a pre-existing condition, then you were more likely to get it. I think that's still true, but there are people dying who are relatively healthy. So if we just stayed home, we wouldn't have this problem.
You think so? So what do you think the solutive part should be for dealing with COVID?
I think it starts at the top. It's hard to keep people at home if you have government officials encouraging us to go out and live our normal lives. There's nothing normal about right now. So I think, people who have the pre-existing conditions, they can only stay at home for so long because they have to go to work. There's a lot of people who have no choice but to go to work, And this argument that the extra $600 is keeping people at home, in my opinion, is laughable because there's a lot of people who, with the extra money, still can't afford many things that they couldn't afford before the extra money. Right. It doesn't apply to everybody.
That's about $2,400 a month. And I'm like,
if you have children.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you really think the average American citizen with kids can live off of $2,400 a month?
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. And you figure the kids staying at home, like this whole summer period, and even before the summer period when they close schools down, kids eat. And then as adults, when we're bored, we eat. So groceries alone is costing a few $100 extra than what it normally has. And then you have to factor in, if you still have to go to work, daycare. Some people still can't go to work because the kids are too young to stay at home by themselves. So a lot of people eventually are going to have to give up their jobs if nothing changed just for childcare.
And we brought up the number $2,400 a month. That's what it was prior to the new executive order. Right now, I think Trump signed something where it's $400 a week.
It's $400 now, yeah.
Yeah, so that's about $1,600 a month. You get what I'm saying? So it's, what do you, like at that point, what's really going on? Like, do you believe in voting? Like, you think that really matters who's in office?
I believe it does.
Yeah.
I believe if your argument is voting is rigged so I won't vote, then I would like to know that person's reason, or I guess where I'm getting at is if you don't vote and say it's rigged, what is your reason for not voting, and how do you think that that's helping and or hurting the economy or the election in general? Because I vote, and I vote because I believe this is going to be the most important election of our time, no matter which way it goes. But Black people don't vote, and that's the reality of it. And I think more and more now we have to vote.
I feel why they don't vote though.
I'm not saying that they're wrong for not voting necessarily, but I think right now whatever decision you make to vote or not vote is going to be the most important decision you've made.
Well, I mean, I think black people have been tired of America lying to them.
Absolutely. No, I agree with
for
that.
so long that it's almost like in this election, right? You got Donald Trump, who's a known bigot,
Sure.
with money. That's all he is to me. You know, basically a redneck with $1 billion
Right.
if he has it. And then you got the other guy, who was the
Joe
guy?
Biden.
Joe Biden, right? Who's also a known racist. And to be honest with you, on the presidential side, as well as the United States Senate and the House of Representatives, they seem to be a bunch of people that really don't give a fuck about you.
Most of them don't.
You know, so it's almost like, and you know, they pretty much are two different parties.
Sure.
It's very rare on the congressional side that a non-Republican, non-Democrat gets in office, and you know it's in the last 150 years. If you're not a Democrat or Republican, you might as well just get off the ballot.
Correct. Yeah.
So right now, knowing that you got Joe Biden, who's a Democrat, you got Donald Trump, who's a Republican, I think not even just black people, just young people, just folks who don't really have money, folks who feel like they're the forgotten of America, right? They feel like, what's the point in voting? Does it really matter? Because when we had Bill Clinton 8 years, we had George Bush 8 years, we had President Obama 8 years, we got President Rick James, aka Donald Trump, you know, possibly for another 8 years. And one thing about me being, you know, in the lower part of the economy, just growing up, I don't really see too much change in life.
There's not a lot of change, but I will say that, to your point, black people who don't vote because they feel disenfranchised, the flip side of that is the white people that felt disenfranchised in 2016.
Excuse me, Kenny. Break down, what does disenfranchised mean for our listeners?
Disenfranchised means, and this is just how I put it, not feeling like you're a part of society, feeling like if you were a part of society, things were taken away from you, almost an outcast in your own world.
Got it. So basically being outcast.
Sure.
Gotcha.
But the difference is black people who don't vote because they felt disenfranchised. White people who felt disenfranchised voted for Trump, and that's how he got elected.
Right.
He convinced enough people who felt that way.
I mean, they really believed that he would build a wall to keep Mexicans out. He pushed his campaign on racism.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
and it wasn't hard because we haven't come a long way from our racist roots in America. So it wasn't hard. He didn't do anything that was too challenging. You know,
I think Trump speaks for the white man that's saying that I can finally be myself.
Right.
Because he, you know, people talking about that he lost the popularity vote. Yeah, he lost it by 1 million votes in a country that has over 300 million people.
Right.
That's not enough. So that means the person next door to you probably feels like Trump.
But over 100 million did not vote.
Right.
So you have to put that in perspective of, I mean, who voted? Old people vote.
Right.
You know, our generation, we're just, I think, getting to the point where majority of us are voting. But I tell you, it's this younger generation. When the George Floyd protests happened, I believe a lot of them will vote. And you know what black people need are allies, which I don't think we've had for a while. But I think we have a lot of young allies now. The thing is, young people don't vote, and if they can get out and vote, then I think that shifts things, which is why the voter suppression is going on, which is why, you know, mail is taking a little longer to get to where it needs to go. There are things happening right now that we need to be cautious of because
that's why I ain't paying my phone bills. The mail, you know, I sent it out there, you know, just a little slow. Okay. But no, I mean, honestly, I think it's a dangerous time for black people to get involved in stuff because I'm a person who feel like we need to use different methods. From voting, you know what I'm saying? I don't think you should just be able to say, I voted, okay, I made a change. It's like, nah, change is made, to me, grassrooted.
Sure.
Most of the changes in the history of the black people or Negro or people from a lost nation or whatever we want to call ourselves happen outside of the ballot box, right?
Yeah.
And right now, you got Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Right? That's not even started by black people. I think the guy is George Soros. I might be wrong about his name. You
That's
know what
his
I mean?
name. It wasn't necessarily started by him. Forgive me, I don't know that.
He funded it.
He's now a boogeyman to the people on the right. Now they're using George Soros as kind of a scapegoat of the Black Lives Matter as a.
I mean, it does pose a question, though, Kenny. Where is all of the funding that's been allocated to Black Lives Matter? Where does that go? Like, I'm with the people. Black lives do matter. Everybody's life matter. But right now, we on fire. So, yeah, hell yeah, Black lives does matter. But what I'm saying is, where is all of that funding going? I see the NBA got Black Lives Matter everywhere. I see them got the names on the jerseys. I see them televised, and I see all that stuff going on. But I'm here. I'm not a millionaire.
Right.
I'm amongst the people. I'm a commoner, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So I asked them, I don't see any funding of that. Not saying I need your money, but there are people in the community that do. There's people in the community that need change. And you're just saying that racism exists in America. There is not a person in America that does not know racism exists in America.
Sure.
So it's like, what is this Black Lives Matter? Like, it's almost like if you ask me, right, when people say, man, what are you? Are you a conservative? Are you a liberal? Are you Democrat? Are you Republican?
But most people don't even know what those terms mean.
Right. I'm a liberal, whatever makes sensitive.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You can't put me in a box. Certain things I agree with the conservative side. Some things I agree with the liberal side. Some things I don't agree with neither one of them.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You know, I think the liberal party is doing more damage to the black community than anybody, simply because we know the conservative side, for the most part, don't fuck with us. So we know we already see our guard is already up with them. But the liberal side, a lot of stuff that's sliding under the radar, is not helpful for us. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like that side of the party is like, do whatever makes you happy. And it's like, okay, we're doing just saying that or just pushing that, you see our community falling. We're not built on family structure anymore. I mean, hell, we reward women for kicking a man out of the household. You know what I'm saying? Through the welfare situation. Other than, going to college, you are rewarding women for not having a man in the household. You would let her stay somewhere for a cheaper rent. You would give her money. You would inflate her food stamp. I'm not saying that they don't need it. I'm all for helping, but at the same time, we need family.
Well, keeping this to black people, the woman needs that support because we're putting our black men in prison at extreme high rates. I mean, I was just reading the other day that there's a man in prison for stealing, I think, barber clippers back in the 70s, and he got life in prison in Louisiana.
Wow. And
he's still there. He was up on appeal this week, and he got denied
crazy.
parole. And it's just like, how? Like, what sense does that make?
It doesn't make sense. It just shows you what America really thinks about us.
I don't think that black woman would need food stamps, and if you
let him out of prison.
If you let him out of prison.
But it's such a complex look at it. Like you said, yeah, it's crazy to me. All of these states right now that legalize marijuana, right? It's crazy that they still have people in the penitentiary for selling marijuana, and now you made it legalized. Yeah. That's crazy.
I'm from the state of Colorado, and I can tell you right now, it is more expensive to live in the state of Colorado because
of the
exploitation. And I say exploitation because that's exactly what it is with marijuana.
Right.
I think if you're a state that has legalized marijuana, everybody in prison for a marijuana charge should be released. Period. It's not even a question. But I also we got the legal system, right? But I also talk about rap music too. The things that, I won't lie, I enjoy certain things, I like a little bit of ignorance. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I do like a little bit of ignorance. Like I like 15% of it though. Okay. Like I wanted to see the Soulja Boy and Chris Brown fight. That's how much ignorance I like. You know what I mean? So just enough.
Just enough, right. But not enough to where it's all around me, right? Okay. So you look at the rap game, where it's going. Last week my homeboy on the show pointed out that you got cats bragging about selling pounds of weed in certain states that they legalize weed, but they're trying to push a thug image. And I think that's also part of the problem, is that we got rappers out here that push negative stereotypes on the black community, and we don't look at them as the coons. We look at, oh, they down with the streets and all that, and they put out negative images, knowing these kids gonna follow this shit, try to live this shit, and then when they get locked up, we just gonna say, well, it's the white man's fault. And I agree, yeah, white supremacy does play their part in overcharging our people, you know what I'm saying? But we also got to look at who's working with white supremacy that's in black skin. We're afraid of that subject. Right now, like, I'm not a fan of Cardi B. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I think she garbage, she trash, you know what I'm saying? I liked her a little bit when she had the crooked teeth back then, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm like, bro, like, at some point, when are y'all black women say y'all want to be protected? Y'all say y'all want black men to love y'all and treat y'all like queens and stuff like that. Then why are y'all supporting the black women that make y'all look like sluts and prostitutes? Explain that to me.
Can you put limits on entertainment, though?
I mean, if you mentally strong enough, yeah, you can know, okay, that's entertainment. However, we just saw a clip of this young lady who was, I'm on Cardi B's show. I feel like to liberate a man, you know, to be liberating, you should fuck a man for money. How is that liberation?
I am 100%. I'm a huge fan of ratchet reality TV. But let's just be honest. Reality TV is not reality.
It's scripted.
And a lot of these people who are, whether it's in the music industry today, whether they become actors, actresses, whether they're on radio, a lot of them have gotten their start from a reality TV platform, you know. So I feel they're trying to keep a certain image to keep their fan base, and as they keep that image, their fan base grows.
I think
so I don't really believe that that's them. I don't know.
I get it with you saying it's entertainment, but I think that the devil's behind it is promoting that because it know it's going to make our young boys, our young girls try to be that, therefore they can lock them up. I hope people know most prisons of today are privately owned.
Absolutely.
Now, so this is a big game. It is a public school to prison pipeline. If it's ever been at any time, this is where it's at the height, and it's only getting worse. Like literally, I got the chick that was on Cardi B's show. Now, if we think Cardi B's bad, let me play this for y'all, man.
I love crossing.
Let me play this for y'all.
Okay.
Being like sexual and shit, like I don't see nothing wrong with that, cause baby, I got 3 kids. And I mean, I got these kids from sucking and fucking. At the end of the day, me being a hoe, like these people say, like honestly, I liberate a lot of hoes. You feel me? When I hear Cardi talk about popping some pussy, me and my bitches is with it. Like that liberate us, because it's like fuck you, self-respect as hoes. Cause how y'all got self-respect? Like, I don't think y'all got self-respect like that. Cause first of all, you supposed to tax these niggas. That's self-respect. You feel me? Like, it make me feel liberated. Like, I love crossing boundaries. Cause guess what? Scared money don't make no money. If you gonna be scared to get that money, you gonna be scared to be yourself and say, this who I am, then you ain't gonna get that coin like that. Facts.
That's where we want to go with this shit?
She didn't even sound convincing all the way. You know,
I mean, she sounded convincing to me.
I don't know. I just felt there was a lot of hesitation, and the liberating part is hilarious to me. Because when I think of liberation, I think of freedom. And if you're saying in the same breath that you're liberated, but you're trying to pop whatever you say you got to try to get a dude, I don't think that sounds too liberating. That's just me.
And this is why I'm not like. I know my first episodes of the Intellectual Class Clown, y'all, I was going in on Jada. This is my issue with Jada Pinkett and people who think like her. It has nothing to do with the August Alsina shit. Just going back to when she had Snoop Dogg on the show.
Okay.
And you got on Snoop Dogg and you said how black men don't respect black women. But you never talked about why black men don't respect other black men. Because we disrespect each other more than anybody. We get to that later. And how the black woman don't respect black men. You can't protect something that don't respect you. You know what I'm saying? When you got your parents in your life, at some point you have to respect their rules of their house. That's part of their protection.
Sure.
They're telling you not to do certain things in their household because they care about you. You get what I'm saying? So when you got a lady on the show like that young lady who came out there, that hoe, I ain't gonna say young lady, let's cut it out. You know, but when you have somebody on speaking that way.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna risk my life to protect that? And Jada, you didn't call that part out. You made it seem like it's just us. And brothers, we do need to step it up and do better. But that's a given. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a barbershop. You know what I mean? So when I hear these cats talk, you know what I'm saying? You don't hear no black man defending no black man who ain't on his shit. We don't have no respect for a dude who lay up on somebody. That's a given. You don't even have to explain that part of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we're afraid to call out the sisters. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all niggas don't want to accept this, but I'm here to tell you. The reason why your daddy left y'all, because your mama wasn't shit. And we scared to say that. Now, ain't for all of us. Some of our daddies wasn't shit, and some parents, it just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of folks in a situation in the black community we're afraid to talk about, your daddy left because your mama wasn't shit. Trust what I'm telling you.
Well, in the black community, I feel like black women are the most protected. So you're not going to hear a lot of bad talk about black women because they're the ones in the picture. They're the ones relevant in the moment.
Right. You know? And the child typically...
Not saying that they're the only one relevant, just in the moment.
And the child typically, they favor the parent who's present.
Right.
And get the behavior of it, right? Mm-hmm. And just going with the prison population, I believe, didn't you used to work for a prison, like deal with guys psychologically or something like that?
Yeah.
Right? The majority of the black men that go to prison come from single parent moms.
Backgrounds.
Single parent moms, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not about to gangbang on you ladies. I'm just telling y'all the facts, right? Mm-hmm. And this shows you how psychologically how they mess you up, right? On one hand, you talk about LeBron James, single parent mom. Mm-hmm. You talk about Kevin Durant, single parent mom. Mm-hmm. We put them on a high horse, right? Mm-hmm. Because their sons became successful. Mm-hmm. Well, fuck, LeBron James is 6'8", 260 pounds, and was able to jump out the gym. Same with Kevin Durant. He's 7'1". You know, he can shoot. See, Kevin Durant can score from any point on the floor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Without their basketball ability, right?
Right.
They'd be regular guys. If the NBA didn't exist, I don't know. Maybe LeBron might be different. I see a different in his character. I see leadership in his character. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking them brothers by no means. Sure. I'm glad that basketball is there because I like to see black people getting that money. Right. You know what I mean? But they get the praise of saying that how great of a parent they was. Mm-hmm. They get all of the praise because their children became successful. Right. Then you go take on the flip side of that, you have a young black man who goes to prison, murdered in the street young or something like that from his behavior, not just a random killing. But just from his behavior, right? And you talk about them being single parent mom, and it's like, well, the daddy wasn't in his life now. Right. And I'm like, wait a minute now. Mm-hmm. If the child is great or the child is terrible, credit has to go to the parent that's around. Right. They didn't get none of that bad behavior from the motherfucker that wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling men you get a pass for not being in your child's life. You're a piece of shit for that. Mm-hmm. If you're not trying to be in your child's life, you are a piece of shit. I'll say it again. Right. You know what I mean? However, a child gets his behavior from the parent that's around, good or bad, whether you like it. Mm-hmm. So if your child becomes great, give them the credit. I'm cool with all that. Mm-hmm. Your child becomes shitty, they got it from it. And one of the things I think in the black community, the black men, I'm not gonna gang bang on us, but I'm gonna keep it real. Mm-hmm. A lot of us don't want to say it, but we got ways of a woman. We afraid to say that shit, though. Think about it. Look how crazy these dudes is rushing to go get the brand new Jordans that come out. Look how dudes feel about, I gotta be swagged out. Even the way we act around each other be on some woman shit. Hmm. And the brothers who don't think like that, they see it. Right. They see it. I'm just being real with you. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about on the homosexual side of the game. I'm just talking about just off of behaviors that you normally see with a man. Men are normally calm, calculated. Us, we're very emotional. You know, brothers and got in shootouts because somebody stepped on their shoe. And the biggest reason we always get into it with each other because I felt played. Mm-hmm. You felt some kind of way? That's emotional, dog.
I'll challenge that a little bit by saying, as a single parent, I think what single parents argue is, I work, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. That's just to survive month to month.
Right. I feel that though.
Right.
I'm not around.
Correct. And that's a positive. It's negative in the fact that you have to work 2 or 3 jobs.
Right.
But it's positive knowing that you're attempting to support your family or successfully supporting your family.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing what you got to do.
Correct. You can only have so many life lessons in that because you're not really home.
A lot of your behavior though,
Right. And
it
I
still
think-
drop to the kid.
Correct. And so I think where the single parent mindset is, if that kid happens to get in trouble, you're like, no, this is based off of me being the single parent, having to pick up the slack of the parent that's not there. This negative behavior is the fact that I'm not able to parent at my full capacity the way I want to. So oftentimes what I see in single parents is they deflect and they put that on the parent who's not visible.
Right.
Because it's easy to do that.
And you know, I
Easier
agree
to
with
do
that because when people ask me, Tone, do you think a woman can raise a boy into being a man? I say, well, I'm not sure if she could or if she can't, you know. But what I am sure is that she shouldn't be in a position to where she have to.
Right.
But that goes back to teaching our daughters what type of guys to date. That goes back to teaching our sons what kind of ladies to date, or teaching our children. You know, when you pick a mate out here, it's more things you should be, you know, looking for. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having your fun. You know, if you want to have your fun, that's fine. I'm not judging that. But we talking about, when you're talking about building a family, things of that nature, you need to be a little bit more mindful of the type of person you're dealing with.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and then one of the things that also plague us, we're overly sexualized through the media, through television, through music, everything like that. So we're having children at younger ages to where we're not wise enough to even make a distinction between good and bad, or I wouldn't even say good and bad, or is this person going to be responsible or not? Because if you with somebody that ain't responsible, you might want to figure your way out of that. You know what I mean? Because love changes. We know that.
Right.
So I'm not mad at you because y'all were in a relationship with somebody and it just didn't work out. But you should have known, hey, this, you know what I'm saying? It's plenty of ladies I done ran across that say, yeah, you know, my kid's father wasn't good for the relationship, but he was a great father.
Right.
He's a great father. So I'm like, yeah, I can salute that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those type of things people need to look at.
I think a lot of times the parent that is present, sometimes without even knowing they're doing it, speak ill of the parent that's not present. And sometimes the parent that's not present isn't by choice, you know. And so with the kid, you're putting the kid in the middle, and you're forcing the kid to grow up a lot sooner than they're supposed to. You're forcing the kid to make a decision on which parent is better.
So,
You know, because the parents dislike each other.
if you don't mind, right? How did your life grow up? Like, how was it for you as a kid?
My dad was a single parent up until I was about, and don't crucify me, Dad, when you hear this. I think it was like 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
And then
Okay.
my for story purposes, stepmom.
Your dad was in the military too, right?
He was in the military later in his life.
Later in his life, okay.
But he ended up meeting my mother, I think when I was 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
My mom actually went to prison. So what we're talking about is relatable.
Well, when you say your mom went to prison,
My birth mom
your
went to
birth
prison,
mom, okay,
yes.
biological mom,
Biological mom.
not your mom that stepped in.
No.
Right.
I don't even think she's seen a prison. But she and my parents didn't like each other. My birth mom and my dad aren't fans of each other. And
Right.
what I noticed as I grew up is I had to make the decision to remove myself from their hate of each other. you
Right.
know, because I think it was hard for them to not talk ill of each other because there was tension that was never resolved because she went to prison and they weren't allowed to talk. I mean, they couldn't talk about it because,
Right.
you know, it was just years.
She's not
and years.
present, yeah.
She's not present.
Right.
And I think, you know, my stepmom, when she came in, again, stepmom for story purposes, my mother, because she's been in my life for so long, she stepped in and didn't miss
Picked
a
up the
beat.
pieces.
I mean, and she didn't allow any negative talk. She was she never said a word.
Very
towards my
positive
mom.
person.
Very positive. And my birth mom hated her, but she didn't hate her. She hated the idea of her. She hated her
yeah.
position.
I
right?
think
Because-
it's a level of envy there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think she hated her as a person. I think she really liked her as a person, which is why she hated her as a person, if that
Right.
makes any sense. Because, you know, she was so nice and pleasant to her. I guess she was waiting on I think as my birth mom was waiting on my stepmom to hate her because she's like, how dare you go to prison and
She's
leave
like,
three kids
I'm not gonna
behind.
give you that fuel.
She didn't give her that fuel, and
Right.
she was supportive. She supported us visiting her in out of prison. Very positive role model. I consider her like my best friend. You know,
Right. Y'all still chop it up to this day.
absolutely, 100%.
Right.
Both of them. I still talk to both of them because I don't allow myself to be in a position where I'm choosing one or the other.
Right.
I understand my dad's frustration, but what I told him when I grew up is your frustration is your frustration. I'm the child. I wasn't there for any of it with that, but we're all adults now, so I think
Right.
that our conversations now are a little more in depth, and my dad has matured.
Right.
He's matured.
So what,
you know,
like
so.
being you from Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what would you say? Was you urban, suburban, rural,
Military.
military base?
Because when we went to Colorado, well, we moved to Colorado in like 2001, right before 9/11. I want to say we moved like July of 2001. So,
Cool.
yeah, my mom got a job, got laid off, and then that's what made my dad join the military. And so when he's been in the military since 2001. Well, he got out, I want to say 2016. I could be wrong, maybe before that. But he served for a while, 5 tours in Iraq, you know. So that was my lifestyle in Colorado. I was a military kid.
I want to point out to y'all, Kenny is from Colorado, but he's a fucking Patriots fan.
Yeah, definitely not a Broncos fan.
The disrespect, dude. But okay, so yeah, that's all right, man. That's, you know, a good little life story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So what was it like for you growing up as a kid?
I played a lot of sports, so that kept me busy.
Yeah.
Wasn't close with my dad. Like, I don't know what it was. I was an angry kid. So it wasn't really him. It was me. You know, I was just,
Letting out frustration.
I guess I just didn't connect with him in a way I could have. And he was trying, but I think he was trying in a way that annoyed me. So we were always at odds. Like, never arguments, but it was never that close father and son bond. It is now. It definitely is now, but it wasn't growing up. So I did a lot of sports, did 4 sports. Very close to my mother who raised me.
You say you did 4 sports.
I did 4 sports.
I didn't want to cut that short.
No,
I know
you're
you
fine.
want to point. Kenny loves his mom. Both of
do.
them. He loves his dad too. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, but what was the 4 sports you played?
Well, I actually did 5. I thought about it. So I did football, wrestling, volleyball, swimming, and track.
He did volleyball. Now that explains why he's a Patriot fan. Fuck it. Yeah,
I did volleyball.
I can dig it. So would you say you like? Because I was a kid. I was born in the '80s, right? I don't remember shit of the '80s. I was born in '86, right? So I don't remember nothing of my life for the '80s, but I do remember the '90s.
Yeah.
I remember the '90s. Like when I remember the '90s, man. I remember growing up, and the toughest decision I was making was trying to be Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
and Old Dog from Menace to Society. Like that was a different time for me. You know what I mean? I remember the changes, brother.
So for me in the 90s, I was trying to figure out which Power Ranger I was going to be.
Word.
Whether it was Zack, like the original Power Ranger.
The Black Ranger who was actually black, y'all.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or in the movie, it was deciding between Billy or Rocky. Because I was not a Tommy guy.
I
which
should
was
have
really
known
weird.
Billy. I should have fucking known Billy.
He was the best one in the video game.
Billy
I'll
should have
tell
been
you
the
that.
Pink Ranger. Fuck Billy.
And I was a horror movie fan in the
Yeah.
90s. So I was, like, if I watched Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween or even Chucky,
Chucky.
it messed me up for a couple of days, but I kept watching them.
You know what fucked me up? Horror film?
What?
Candyman.
It didn't mess with me.
I never paid attention to the fact Candyman never killed black dudes. I hope Jordan Peele don't change that in the new Candyman, but he ain't never killed a black dude in all 3
I
movies.
didn't even think about that. But you know what was crazy, though? As I
He
get
had Jungle
older,
Fever though.
I pay attention to storylines now.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it was really just kind of the setup. Like 5 teens go to the woods and one comes out, or
The
they
Virgin.
go to, yeah.
It was
much.
pretty much, yeah. If you was the virgin and the lame motherfucker,
Whoever they
you lived.
featured, she
Yeah.
was living. He or she. Mostly she.
Unless it's she in the 3rd film. They gonna kill you by the 3rd film.
Yeah, it was definitely a woman, and then it was like the guy that she didn't care for, or maybe it was the ex,
Yeah.
and then he would come and save her.
The only way you can get some ass and smoke weed in a horror film and live you had to be like the bad boy dude. You know what I mean?
I always felt like they went first though.
No, I mean not an asshole, but you
Okay.
had to be like the
The tough guy.
The tough guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the chick's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, they trying to work it out type
Mm-hmm.
dude. They always survive the horror films, but
And then, you know, of course, it was like black people never live in scary movies. And
Man.
that theory was broken when Brandy lived, and I Still Know What You Did Last
I
Summer.
want to tell people, black people live through most scary movies we live. I don't know when they come about.
I don't know.
they
It was
say that.
always a thing.
Yeah.
Always a thing. Black people just didn't live.
We always said that. I don't know, man. Most scary, like you got Halloween H2O, you got Halloween
LL Cool J.
Resurrection.
Yeah. Resurrection,
Both
Busta Rhymes, yeah.
If you are a black rapper, you're going to survive a horror film, unless it's all black people. Then your ass out of there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, if
But-
you're an actor like Mekhi Phifer,
Yeah, you
always
gone. he died. He always died in the horror film.
He did. He never lived.
Mekhi Phifer holds the record for the most killed in a movie. He died in Paid in Full.
Uh-huh.
He died in Scream 2.
Because he put his ear
No, that wasn't
to the
Mekhi
stall.
Phifer. That was Omar Epps.
Omar Epps, because he put his ear to the stall and
Yeah,
he
he heard
stabbed
him
him through
having
the stall. I'm
sex,
still
yeah.
trying to figure out how he stabbed him.
He
through the
died
stall.
in I Know What You Did Last Summer too. He did die in
I
that.
Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
I
Because he was
Still Know
Brandy's
What You Did, yeah.
boyfriend.
Right. Yeah, Mekhi Phifer holds the
He
record.
had no luck.
He died in O.
In O?
He did die in O
Remember
at the
in
very end.
Shakespeare movie?
Yeah, it was
He
a
shot
Shakespeare
himself
movie.
Over the white girl.
Uh-huh.
The white boy played the what's the name of it?
Yeah, he shot himself over the Shakespeare movie I didn't see.
And didn't he get played in 8 Mile?
Yeah, he played.
He got played in 8 Mile.
Right, he played Proof in 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to Proof. Proof died. So
Right.
that counts as a debt to your ass too, Mekhi Phifer. Mekhi Phifer is the most killed person in movie history.
Yeah.
Nah, he lived in Clockers. He made it out there. He was on the train on the way out.
He either died or he always got sick.
Yeah,
He was a good
in
puker.
Clockers, he had
Good puker.
ulcers or some shit.
He's a great puker.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, he survived in soul food.
Yes, but
Yeah.
then he went to
That
prison.
bitch ass Samuel should have died.
But he's always getting the raw end because he got the job because Nia
Samuel,
Long.
yes. He beat the brakes off. Ladies, listen, women of all,
Yeah.
never ask your ex to ever look out for your current.
That was a horrible decision.
That was a horrible decision.
You might as well
to be
just
alone.
collect unemployment until you can
for
find
real.
something.
Like, don't do it, man.
Because
Man,
that was
we
terrible.
we really don't want no help from nobody.
And then
most
he
of the
went
time,
and
but
told
not
him
them.
about it
Oh,
because he
yeah.
couldn't wait to tell him that
Oh,
he
he
got him
could.
the job.
See?
He couldn't wait because he was eating the hell out of that sandwich before the dude told him.
That was like, what was it? A turkey sandwich with lettuce, tomato. He had that boy
He
sitting
really
good.
did. I got hungry every scene. I'm like, I'm hungry now, man. I got to eat.
Because that was the scene of Soul Food that made you hungry.
Well, I mean, every other scene was sad. I mean, when I looked at Chicken with Big
You know
Mama
what's
in it,
crazy,
you
though?
knew.
If you was the Boondocks broke down Soul Food, right? Big Mama died from eating all that shit she cooked on Soul Food, and what did they do to commemorate her? Eat all the shit they killed.
Right. Which is why I praised the sandwich.
Yeah, that's why I feel you. They had a big dinner cooking all the shit that killed her, huh?
Everything.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, they look good though.
Delicious.
It did look good though.
Delicious.
And then they let that cheese ass pastor come back, bro. That pastor should have been got his ass whooped.
went to jail.
For real, bro.
So I want to ask you something. Do you think Vivica is a good actress? Because I've heard multiple people say she's not.
I ain't gonna lie. Mom, if you listen, I'm here to tell you. I watched Booty Call, and it wasn't about the acting. Because it's a little frame. If you freeze it at the right time, you can see that little nipple. You know what I'm saying? You freeze that boy at the right. Hey, this is before porn, y'all. Like,
Sure,
this
right.
was the closest thing to get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that man, Jamie Foxx, he had Jamie Foxx in there doing impersonations for that cooch. You know what I mean? He did Bill Cosby, Mike Tyson. Everybody who been to jail or going to jail.
Yeah.
Like, she had Mike in there going crazy, bro. You know, I had Jamie going crazy in there. So, yeah, I never watched Vivica Fox for her acting.
You never, like, in Why Do Fools Fall in Love, you never thought she was decent in that?
Probably. I'm a fan of Lorenz Tate, though. I think
Okay.
that nigga's a great actor.
He's a great actor.
He's a great
Absolutely.
actor, man.
Yeah, I agree
You
with
know,
that.
it's crazy. My favorite Lorenz Tate film is Dead Presidents.
It's a great movie.
That is
I
a
love
great. That
that
movie
movie.
should have won some academies,
Yeah.
but you know how it go.
He's a very underrated. Very underrated.
I mean, it bring you back to the 90s, and to me, the 90s had that era where everybody talked about Vietnam. If you notice, every movie kind of had, almost every movie had kind of a little element to it, even from another one of my favorite films, y'all, Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump is top 10 my favorite film.
I was a big Full Metal Jacket fan.
Full Metal Jacket is a
love that
good
movie.
Real good movie.
Because we were talking about the drill sergeant.
Yeah,
He was an actual Marine.
Yeah, he was actually a military guy, Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good movies.
I mean, this motherfucker, he was good though. I
my
like the
God.
fact that he wasn't so Marine, because most Marines be some dickheads. I'm here to tell y'all.
Horrible.
You know, except for my
can be,
homeboy
yeah.
Kev, man. It's very rare to run across a Marine who don't just have this, I could kick everybody ass in the room mentality.
But I think it's like a bravado thing. I don't know if it's necessarily asshole. It's just bravado. Like, I'm better than you.
And
Prove me wrong.
And every time they talk that shit, I show them that video of Kimbo Slice whooping that Marine ass with ease.
I've never seen that video.
Yeah, he whooped his ass in that backyard. Left had his ass with more lumps. Had his face look like he jumped out of plane face first. Talk that fucking Marine shit. If it's in you,
Right.
you got it. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen that one.
It's YouTubeable.
It's YouTubeable?
Yeah, that's the new word. It's YouTubeable. YouTubeable. Yeah.
YouTubeable.
YouTubeable.
Okay.
You
I
got
have to check
Googleable.
out-
You got YouTubeable. Yes.
Googleable and YouTubeable.
Yes. Anything
that.
you want to find out.
Got you.
You know what I mean? You will
Okay.
find that shit out, man. But yeah, man, the 90s was my era, bro.
I love the 90s. 90s music.
Yeah.
90s R&B is my go-to.
The
at any
90s
point.
R&B? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think like 2004 was probably the last year where most R&B singers kept it 100.
I was a big group fan, and I think groups faded around that time.
Yeah. Well, who would you say the top groups of the 90s?
Mine,
Yeah.
H-Town, a
H-Town.
huge H-Town fan. Boys to Men. I loved TLC, Destiny's
TLC?
Child.
Okay. Jodeci?
Jodeci, love Jodeci. But I mean, I loved H-Town, not because the music was necessarily freaky, but I loved the voices of the twins. You know, because the other guy really didn't. What was his name?
Man, you talking about Jagged Edge, bro.
No, I'm talking about H-Town. H-Town
They
had
no damn
twins.
twins in
Yes,
no
they
H-Town.
did.
Did they?
Yes, one of them passed away in a car accident.
Okay.
Yeah, they had twins.
All right, yeah, he talking about H-Town. What about Jagged Edge?
Oh, I love Jagged Edge.
112?
Would you say Jagged Edge was like early 2000s, or would you have given them
That
90s?
was nice. That was nice.
Would you? Okay.
Late 90s, though. Mm-hmm. And one thing I was arguing with my homeboy about, right? Because he's one of those cats,
Yeah.
he was born in 1991 and shit. So he think he remember the 90s. Nah, you remember the late 90s, because 1990 to 1994
Yeah.
is completely different from 95 to
Completely.
99.
Completely.
It's two different stories.
You
though.
can almost group like 97 to 2001 as the same era. It was just, it
Yeah.
was all connected and, again, heavy on the groups. And the sound was very
You remember
similar.
Immature?
I remember Immature.
Immature with
Who turned into IMX.
Yeah, yeah.
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 House Party. They were in House Party
Three. And
okay.
four.
And 4, yeah.
Nobody watched for us.
Which one was it with the big girls and they were trying to convince Marcus Houston to date her? I think that was the 4th one. It was the twin girls.
No, they was dudes,
They were dudes?
but they had them dressed up like girls.
They were the same kids from Nutty Professor, weren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
Yeah, I
it.
was like, I like, you think is it cool to put on a dress in a movie? Is that
mean-
for comedy? Because I came from it. I don't like the shit, but I don't turn off Martin. What he do, Shanae? Am I wrong?
Shanae it's just epic. It's just classic.
Like, dude, I remember my auntie, going to my auntie house. My auntie Joanne.
Yeah.
Joanne, I love you if you hear this video. And when Martin used to come on, I remember originally Martin, not
Yeah.
reruns.
Right.
When Martin come on, it was like a holiday.
Absolutely.
Everybody gonna sit in front of that house, sit in that house in front of that TV and watch Martin. And you got to be quiet until the joke come.
Absolutely.
Like Martin, that's the greatest TV show ever to me. You know what I mean? But I remember it the first time it came on. Like I remember In Living Color for the first time.
Right.
I remember Jamie Foxx for the first time. You know what I'm saying? When he got his show, you know, it just was amazing to remember this shit when it first jumped off. And even as the Power Ranger, I was a Jason fan. I like the original Red Ranger. Probably because I grew up in Lincoln Manor at that time. That might be why I'm a 49er fan. Red was the color there.
Right, yeah.
I'm not gonna tell y'all why, but that was the color there.
Right, yeah.
You know, but man, it was just good times, bro. Like it was the Super Soaker.
Right.
You remember that shit?
Oh, the Super, yeah.
Yeah.
The Super Soaker. If you had one of those, like,
yeah,
or
your
even
folks
if you
had that
borrow
paper.
one,
They had one that came with the
strap.
little water tanks on the back of
you
it.
had the one with strap, like you could put a strap on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, if somebody had that Super Soaker, you getting it.
or the grenades,
Or
the little
grenade,
water
yeah.
balloon grenades.
Water balloons. It wasn't even grenades. We just had regular water balloons.
Yeah, they weren't real grenades. But
Yeah,
they
it
looked
was
like.
regular water balloons.
I think what kids nowadays don't realize is a lot of the Jamie Foxx, Martin Lawrence, all of them. They were stand-up comedians first, and they struggled. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It wasn't easy. Like Def Comedy Jam, like I loved watching that. I loved
Def
watching
Comedy
that.
Jam, yeah.
And, Showtime at the Apollo.
And it just, to me, it showed how blacks in Hollywood stuck together. Because even Jim Carrey gives Keenan Ivory Wayans the highest praise for what In Living Color done for their career. Because for us, I never been a big fan of Saturday Night Live. You know what I'm saying? And to me, In Living Color was the closest thing to it. I mean, Mad TV had it.
I was gonna say Mad TV
They
had
it
its
run.
moments.
Yeah, with
Deborah Wilson
and Ari Spears.
Ari Spears.
Yeah. But for us, In Living Color gave us way more stars. Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
David Allen Greer, Tommy Davidson, Kim Wayne, every Wayans, fuck it. We just say
Right.
everybody last name Wayans. Jamie Foxx, Jim Carrey, you know what I mean? All of them, it helped their career. Like,
Sure.
do anybody remember Jim Carrey before they Living in Color? In Living Color? Nobody. You know what I'm saying? He was in movies before In Living Color, but you don't remember that shit. You know? And Keenan Ivory Wayans, the funny part with him, the person who gave him a leg in the door was Robert Townsend, the Parenthood dude. You know, this is Five Heartbeats guy, Meteor Man. You know what I mean? This is the guy that opened the door for him. Who opened the door for both of those guys? Eddie Murphy.
Right.
You know, and a lot of times, the one thing I give the rappers of today, they don't mind opening the door for another brother. Like, man, come on, man, you got a little buzz, come on a record with me. Let's do something together. You took over your city, I took over my city. Let's take over both of them.
Sure.
Let's get out there. And I like that part about it. They down to that business. You know what I'm saying? Too many times, man, we be competing. I don't need to compete, man. Let's all eat, man. Because what's for you is for you, and what's for me is for me.
Right.
Period. You know?
But I think it goes back to survival too. I think people have a survival mindset, which is people still view, and it is true, very few opportunities for a lot of black people. So it's survival.
I think
I
it's
would
more
rather
greed.
me be successful, not me personally, but I think people have the mindset of I'd rather me be successful
Selfish.
than you. And then I hope you support me on the back end.
Nah, to me, it's all about you do better getting it together.
Yeah.
I said it before. A wise man knows it's better to have 10 men or 10 people with $1 million apiece amongst each other than to have one man with 10 million and 9 with nothing.
That's a great mindset if everybody got on board with that.
We on our way though.
Sure. No, I'm not
We on our
denying
way.
that. I'm not denying that.
We
but
on our way.
some
But
people
going
aren't
back to the
mindset.
90s, right?
Yeah.
I finally got my opportunity to watch Jordan's Last Dance, like the first episode. And I remember telling my lady about it, and it was like, you know, she's a little bit younger, so she don't remember the era of Jordan, and she's not a big fan of Michael Jordan. But I was, you know. First of all, y'all, I don't give a shit if y'all like it or not. LeBron James, the greatest cat that ever pick up a basketball.
Wow.
We gonna say that, you know. But
Yeah.
understand why the older cats say he ain't got no Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan in the 90s, bro, was such a big athlete that when you compared him to other athletes, it was only Muhammad Ali and Babe Ruth. And we know these white people love Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth couldn't play fucking baseball today at all. You know what I'm saying? But Ali, the greatest man to ever lace up gloves. I don't say he the greatest boxer ever. I think it's Mayweather or Mike Tyson, but he's the greatest man to ever lace up a pair of gloves. And Michael Jordan was spoken about in the eras of those guys. Like when Michael Jordan retired in '98, his second retirement, basketball died. And a lot of people missed one of the greatest eras of basketball because they didn't want to tune in because Michael Jordan didn't want to play. Like that. Like Michael Jordan was major. People don't understand. This in the 90s era, right? This is when Tupac and Biggie was alive.
Right.
Eazy-E was alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is that era. When we talking about Martin, Jamie Foxx show, Fresh Prince of Bel. This is when motherfucking Will Smith was known as the Fresh Prince.
Right.
We didn't even know Will Smith. We knew the Fresh Prince. You know what I'm saying? This was that era. That feel-good era, but it still was a, you know what I'm saying? The streets was a rough era, but everything was happening. The World Wide Web, y'all. WWW. Before you put www dot, that's what it stands for. World Wide Web. This is when it took off, 95. You know what I mean?
So if you put Jordan in the social media era, how do you think he would fare? I'm not talking about his game. I'm talking about because LeBron has to deal with, I think, more off the court stuff than Jordan ever had because
Right.
everything is sensationalized now.
Right.
So how do you think he would fare today?
Michael Jordan wouldn't be as larger than life if he was today because people would see his flaws. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of kids, you can Google Jordan or YouTubeable Jordan, YouTube him, and you're going to see highlights. You're not going to see the downfalls. Well, with LeBron, we see the struggles. We heard the story of going to Miami. You see kind of the good and the bad of LeBron. And LeBron, to me, also deals with social issues, something Jordan wouldn't do. You know what
I think the perfect example is when that racist rhetoric was written on his house.
He pointed that out.
And he was criticized for being upset about that.
Right. So LeBron does deal with more issues.
Yeah.
I mean, even off the court, we know he deals with a lot more. But on the court, it's a different ball game. Just like life, it's a different ball game.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But for Michael Jordan to get that praise before, we talk about the bad things that could have came with it. But he also got that great praise before social media. You know what I mean? Like literally, Kenny, you got to think. I can watch a stream of any NBA team playing right now. When MJ played, it wasn't but like 2 or 3 channels that had games on.
Right.
And you knew Chicago
Right.
was going to be playing, was going to be showing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it goes on that time. But, life move on. Life get better.
Right.
Life does what it does. It's going to evolve. It's going to do what it do, man. We just got to stay true to what we do, you know?
Yeah.
And before we leave today, y'all, I just want to expose one thing about Kenny, y'all. Y'all might not know this, right? He's a fucking New England Patriot fan.
It's nobody's business. What's the problem with that?
Wackest shit ever.
What is the problem with me being a New England fan?
Because they bitches.
How?
Easy. They got caught cheating 17 times. You know what I'm saying? They got caught cheating. Like, they deflated balls. They watch other teams play. They had that gay ass Tom Brady.
Everybody,
and I
does
mean
the
that
same
in
thing.
the most
'Cause I remember
derogatory way.
I remember during the inflated balls, Aaron Rodgers came out and said, "I do the same thing," and nobody flinched.
Hey,
Nobody.
I'm gonna end this note on this, y'all, because I could go on.
He won't
and
even
on
let
and
me
on.
speak about it.
Yeah, I can go on and on about football, y'all.
Yeah.
But I want to tell y'all the real secret reason why I like Colin Kaepernick. The real reason, and this is before the pro-black shit, right? Going back to the 90s, something happened in the late 90s. Brett Favre, bitch ass, used to beat the shit out of my 49ers all the time. Bullied us. We knew if it was a game in Green Bay, I already knew we lost, playoffs wise, right? But it was this young man with the number 7 on his jersey. He used to have like a little taper fade with the little swoosh on his head, right?
Uh-huh.
He went in their house. First of all, he embarrassed them in San Francisco on his way to the Super Bowl. When they say my boy couldn't play, he went to a Super Bowl, right?
Actually, that blackout saved y'all from a blowout.
I don't even want to talk
That's neither
about
here
that.
nor there.
Yeah, cut his mic off. We're going to cut his mic off, right? So the year later, right, because of the bullshit rules in the NFL, a 12-14 had to go play inside of the stadium of a 10-16.
Because they didn't win their division.
Because they didn't win their bullshit
Yeah.
division because the New Orleans Saints referees cheated. Fuck Drew Brees. I want to point that out.
It's so funny, though, because for the
Yeah.
past 3 years, the Saints have been shitted on by the refs.
Yeah, they deserve it. I'm here to tell everybody in New Orleans, you fucking deserve it. Because Ahmad Brooks did not have a personal foul on that punk ass Drew Brees. That was not a personal foul. He hit him across the chest, not across the neck. And that game cost us our fucking division and eventually our Super Bowl because we was gonna beat the shit out Denver. We was beating the shit out Denver. You remember that Super Bowl?
Was that the year that Denver
That's
played
the-
Seattle?
Yeah, and Seattle beat
And
the shit out of
Seattle
Denver.
worked them. Yeah.
Yeah, we was gonna beat the shit out.
It
of
was
them.
over in the first half.
Yeah, that shit was done, and we was gonna do the same thing. Even Richard Sherman said the Niners were
I
the
think
best.
any AFC team would have given, or NFC team would have
beat the shit out of them. But going back to it, Colin Kaepernick went into Green Bay, no sleeves, no jacket, straight showing, straight tattoos, and tore that ass up again. That's why I roll with Kaepernick. But he really made me proud, man, because Colin Kaepernick did something that a lot of entertainers are afraid to do.
Yeah.
He used his platform to speak out, and he gave them the raw, uncut. And he knew that it would sacrifice his career.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, we can have agreements, disagreements. We can do any of those things. But we have to stick together.
Absolutely.
And all you celebrities out here, I get it. You know, y'all getting y'all money, y'all doing y'all celebrity things. But I tell y'all this. If you're not using your platform for your people, you are against your people. And that's it. I'm out. Peace.